Renewed chieftaincy dispute.
As I speak with you right now, security has been beefed up, the police is on the ground, the military is on the ground, patrolling the area so that...
We'll bring you details as the residents close shops and shut themselves indoors over fear of reprisals. Also tonight, the Sogli Traditional Council vows to use all means, including violence, to prevent government from renaming the whole technical university after the late Dr. Ephraim Amu.
The way the youth are agitating, definitely it will be met with violence. We said no to the change of the name. Finito.
Also tonight, blame it on the devil. Husband accused of battering his wife until her face was covered with blood expresses regret for his action as he advises men not to follow his example.
So I don't know at what point he punched under my eye, then blood gushed out and spilled onto the wall.
I'm so sorry. And I also urge other men to always exercise patience with their spouses. It's the work of the devil.
And in business, a senior tax partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers describes the country's laws as not friendly to small businesses.
Later in sport, Asante Kotoko wrap up preparation for tomorrow's CAF Confederations Cup clash against Zambia's Zesco United. Will be live in Kumasi to gauge the atmosphere ahead of the game.
You want to stay with us? We have all the details coming up shortly. You can join us with your views and comments and as a WhatsApp 0244340437. My name is Evans Mensah. And a joint military and police team have tonight been deployed to maintain peace at the Upper East Regional Bogatanga suburb of Atubasi over renewed chieftaincy dispute there. Now, 3 persons, including police officers, have been attacked so far in the skirmishes. The streets have been deserted and shops closed, though the police are yet to make any arrests. Upper East Regional Minister Paulina Abayere says the security has been beefed up to forestall further violence.
Brief I received from the district police commander, that's not what seems to have happened. I think maybe some unknown faces yesterday in the night around 8:20 p.m. Were throwing stones at each other. So when the police intervened, shots came from some angles, and then the shots, unfortunately, 2 of the policemen were hit by bullets. That's what I'm told. 1 to the face and then the other 1 to the back. They were sent to the hospital and they are doing very well. And within a very short time, the whole place are clear. By the time the police called their colleagues to come and then they went there, you wouldn't even find a single person. That's why now it's difficult to know who caused it for any arrest to be effective. Then this morning, the assemblyman for the area, I'm told, who has the public toilet facility that I think one of the public toilet facilities he supervised. He was doing his normal job in the morning by the toilet when he was also attacked by a group of people, and then they just attacked and also ran away. So by the time the police was called in and they got there, the place was as clean as nobody had done anything. They picked the assemblyman to the hospital and I'm told he's also doing well.
We do understand that people seem scared. What's been done to reassure them?
The security is on the ground. As I speak with you right now, security has been beefed up. The police is on the ground. The military is on the ground, patrolling the area so that no untoward mishap is experienced.
Let's go live now to our correspondent there, Albert, who has been following this for us. Albert, can you tell us what triggered these clashes? Hello, Albert.
Hello, Evan.
What triggered these clashes?
Well, for now, we don't know what triggered the latest clash. But we know this chieftaincy dispute has been there since 2014, and these clashes have happened a number of times since then. The police say that because they are still investigating, they are unable to tell what exactly triggered this latest clash.
Describe the atmosphere there for us, since you are there.
Yes, this afternoon and even this evening, I passed through the area, and what I can tell you is that most people, there's a street that is passing through the community, and this street gives people access to other parts of the town. It's usually busy at this time of the day, but because of what happened last night, a lot of people seem to be avoiding using that particular street. And in the area itself, most of the community members are not really outdoors, mainly because they are afraid that at any time at all, this could happen again.
I see. And you've been speaking with doctors. What's the condition of these officers who were shot?
Well, I actually spoke with the police, and they are telling me that the two police officers who were injured, one has a quite serious injury and had to go through X-ray for doctors to be able to give him further treatment, but he is still in stable condition. The other person, his injuries were not too serious, so we were told that he's likely to be discharged today.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. That's my correspondent on the ground. Thankfully, we can also speak to the regional minister, who is also chairman of the Regional Security Council. Paulina Bayeri joins us on the phone right now. Madam Paulina, thank you for your time here on News Night. We understand that, as you've described, there's a heavy police presence in the town. How long are they going to be there? And from your understanding, because we heard earlier in the day that those who were injured, there seemed to be some tension still. How long will the police be deployed on the ground, based on intelligence?
I said there is police presence, but there is a heavy police presence. That is enough to also scare my people. As I indicated this afternoon, we had some skirmishes in that Tulbabisi area, which once in a while happen due to the unfortunate chieftaincy issue we have. These are two families. I mean, one family, two gates that once in a while decide to, I think, test muscles against each other. As your reporter said, and as I said this afternoon, nobody has an idea of what triggered the recent incidents. The police were called in to curb a small disturbance in the night, and then unfortunately, some person or persons shot at them. Nobody knows who even did that. And as I said in the afternoon, by the time the police could even call for reinforcement, and then they came because two of their people had been shot, nobody was there. They went to sleep again. Then the place was as quiet as nothing had happened because it was in the evening. It actually happened from the police report I get. It happened around 8:20 last night. So everybody went to sleep as if nothing had happened. Then this morning, the assemblyman for the area, going about his normal work, was also attacked by same unknown face. By the time the police could be brought in, they had vanished into their communities. These are the two incidents that happened. It's not as though it has been a continuous and two isolated incidents. Nobody even knows whether the attack on the assemblyman has any connection to what happened yesterday. But it's a flashpoint in the municipality, and all eyes are always on the place. So when something like this happens, whether it is associated to the chieftaincy or the isolated cases, as RegSec, we definitely have to let the police go in to ensure security. So as I said this afternoon, and then I will repeat here, we have police presence there. We have a few military people also beefing up security there. So currently, we don't have any issue on the ground. And I can assure the community and the Bolgatanga municipality that the security agencies are on the ground, and they will make sure that they prevent any further skirmishes.
And I wonder, because of what happened today, beyond deploying the police to deal with the situation and calm people, whether there's going to be any approach to reach out to both sides and get some long-term, amicable, lasting solution to this.
The case is in court. The two parties have sent their case. They actually sent it to the Regional House of Chiefs. The Regional House of Chiefs took a decision which was not pleasant to one of the factions. So they proceeded to court, and they are in court. And you know that when issues like this are in court, you just have to allow the court to take a decision. Meanwhile, we have a traditional council, the Bolgatanga Traditional Council. They came to my office the day before yesterday, which is working. And they are working representing people of the area. They came, the chiefs of the various areas came to the office, and we had a long discussion. They all agree that once the case is in court, we must allow the courts to run its course, and then we'll see what happens. As a regional minister, I am not supposed to meddle in chieftaincy issues. And I've promised myself that I'm not going to meddle in any chieftaincy issue whatsoever in the region. What we can do is to calm tempers. I know that the Regional Peace Council is also on the ground. We have a Regional Peace Council in place. It's also in the ground. And while the cases are called, they try to mediate to make sure that tempers are calm, and we have much more peace than would have been there if we hadn't put all these measures in place. As I said, once in a while, the youth, they would like to test their muscles and then see how strong they are. But I can assure you that the security is on the ground. It happened about a month ago, exactly the same thing. That was even maybe a bit harsher than this one, but they were able to calm things down. So we'll just make sure that the security is beefed up, people are able to go about their businesses and their work and their life as normal. So because that place is actually a commercial hub. We have a lot of shops around, and it's right in the center of town. So when these things happen, they affect commerce a bit. So as RECSEC, we have put all the necessary steps in place to ensure that we have peace.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That is the regional minister that's speaking to us in the wake of the clashes that has left 3 police officers battling for their lives in hospital. I want to stay in the general northern area for a while now because today President Adudankwa Akufo-Addo finally disclosed the identities of the capitals for the 2 newly created regions there. One is Nalerigu is going to be the capital for the northeast region. Damongo is going to be the capital of the Savannah region. This follows days of speculation and agitation. Already the president has appointed a northern regional minister as the caretaker minister for the 2 regions.
Government will make sure that the desire for growth and progress, which was the underlying reason for the vote for the creation of the Northeast region, is met. Nalerigu has been chosen as the capital of the Northeast region. I want to assure residents of the region, however, that government projects and structures will be equitably spread across the region. Let us work hard together. And I'm confident that with dedication and commitment, the Northeast region will develop and touch the lives of every resident and help us to build the great nation of Ghana we all desire. Let us be up and doing, for our destiny beckons.
So that is the president speaking today when he disclosed the new capitals, 2 new capitals that we have. In the wake of that, though, we are now getting reports of some violence that has erupted in the northeast, the newly created northeast region, in reaction to the announcement of Nalerigu as the capital of the northeast region. And we'll be going there shortly to bring you the very latest of what we're hearing. Eyewitnesses are calling us with that report. Our correspondents are double checking the information that we are getting. However, my colleague Latif Idris, who was just returning from the Jubilee House where the president just finished the ceremony to disclose the capitals, is on the line with me because he's been speaking to the Northern Regional Minister, who has been appointed by the president as a caretaker minister for the two newly created regions, that is the Savannah and Northeast, about the potential for some agitations in some of these areas in the wake of the announcement of the capitals. Lateef, you spoke to the regional minister, who is a caretaker minister for the two regions. You put a question to him about the plan to deal with these potential agitations. What was his answer?
Yeah, so it was as if we saw this coming, and minister's answer to this question was that there was a very broad consultation that went into the president finally settling on Nalarigu and then the other town for the Savannah region as the regional capitals. And so his ministry is going to go back to these people, talk to them, patch up all the wounds that have been created so that there would not be what we are hearing that is happening on the ground right now, these clashes that were expected in these areas. But the minister said that they are going to work on the ground to patch up all of these and ensure that there are no clashes going forward. And so it is rather unfortunate that this is happening now, Evans.
Thank you very much, Lateef. We'll come back to you shortly. I'm just getting some eyewitnesses who are just reaching out to us on this. And as we begin to independently verify what is happening, let's speak to Hussein Mukaila. He's a resident in Salaga. Hussein, thank you very much for your time here on Newsnight. The line dropped there. We'll get that for you shortly. That's information we're hearing currently unfolding in that part of the country. Hussein Mukaila is on the line with us. Hello, Hussein Mukaila. Thank you for your time here on Newsnight. What is happening where you are?
Yes, currently the part of this has been set ablaze, and there's massive crowd here. The place is blazing right now, and people will not move. The place is burning down, but people are still throwing stones and all manner of things just to make sure that they see the place burn down.
What sparked this? What happened? What sparked this?
Yes, it was due to Nanado's announcement of Damongu as the regional capital of the Savannah region.
And was this sounds? I can hear a lot of commotion in the background where you are, just on the phone. Describe what is happening in where you are. What you can see.
Yes, what inspired all this is the announcement of Damongu being the chosen regional capital for the Savannah region. That got the people angry. They think that in Salaga that deserves to be the regional capital of the Savannah region. So the people are just angry. They are still, the place is blazing right now, still on fire. And people are destroying things. The place is on fire, but they are still throwing stones, all manner of things, just to make sure that they see the part of this going down, because they think that injustice has been done to the town.
So the president announced Damongu as a capital for the Savannah region, but the people believe the right place is Salaga.
They believe that Salaga should be the town that should be given the regional capital of the Savannah region.
And we hear that people have attacked the NPP headquarters there.
Yeah, the Salaga South part office of the NPP.
And they've set the place ablaze.
Yes, the place is still on fire, and the people are still throwing stones and all manner of things just to make sure that they see the place going down. They are still throwing stones. It's still on fire, but they are still there. People will not move.
You said you are throwing stones. Who are they throwing the stones at?
Yeah, they are destroying the glasses of the windows of the building. Everything, their fridges, their satellites, the roofing, the satellite dish, computers, all manner of things, fridges, everything. They destroy everything, and the place is still ablaze.
And where's the police in all this?
Come again.
The police. Are the police on the scene?
Yeah, the police came here, but they didn't pay attention because it's a public thing. The police cannot do anything. They just moved to the DC's residence. They moved to the DC's residence. Fire service came to the fire, but the public road stones are the fire service. So the fire service couldn't do anything because the crowd is massive. The fire service cannot do anything. They came to quench the fire, but the public didn't give them any chance. They told them to go. They threw some at the fire service.
I can hear a lot of shouting in the background. What is happening now?
Right now, someone is using a pickaxe trying to bulldoze the building. They are using pickaxe.
Who is using pickaxe?
Come again.
You said somebody's using pickaxe. Who is using pickaxe?
Pickaxe.
Oh, I see. Pickaxe.
The one used to dig holes.
I see. And what are they using it for?
They are hitting the building. That's trying to destroy it.
Oh, they simply want to pull down the MPP headquarters.
Yes. I'm saying to you now, the place is still on fire, but the crowd, they are still throwing stones, using pickups just to make sure that they destroy the whole building. They just want to wreck the whole building down.
They want to raise the whole building down. Do you know if there are people in this NPP office?
No. The executives cannot appear here because the people are so angry. No one can do anything. They have to give them because the fire service couldn't do anything. The police came. They didn't pay attention. They head to the DC's residents to protect the DC's residents. They think that maybe the public can go there and try to do something else.
And this, from what you describe, mainly the youth of the town.
Come again.
This, from what you describe, mainly the youth of the town.
Yeah, the youth of the town.
So thank you very much for that update coming in from Salaga. Well, to be very specific now, the Savannah region. The contest really is about which place should be the capital. The president today announced that Damongo is going to be the capital of Savannah region, which appears to have sparked the latest violence that we're witnessing in that part of the country.
Joy 99.7 FM, your most reliable news source.
So as we begin here, some breaking news coming out of the Savannah region right now. There seem to be having spontaneous violence right now. Residents have just picked up arms and pulling down an MPP head office there. It says a police and there, but the place has been set on fire right now. People are using everything they can to pull down that office there. There seem, if you hear from the background agitation, we're trying to work the phone line to see if we can get the police to speak to us on what is happening. When we do, we'll bring that to you. But also today, speaking on this very important subject from the Jubilee House, when the president, of course, announced the capitals, the minister responsible for regional reorganization was there and emphasized the commitment of the president to ensure that once the regions are created, which we've seen already, but also the capitals and monies sent out there to ensure development.
To ensure thorough consultations and sensitization of the public on the positive meetings with the various regional House of Chiefs from Western, Brona-Hafo, Volta, and Northern region in May 2017, even before the petitions were formally forwarded by Mr. President to the Council of State. Our president exhibited raw political courage, and we who serve had no choice but to respond to that courage and to help navigate the difficult political, social, and economic terrain required to make this a success. Mr. President, when we are all long gone and the history of our beloved country comes to be written, alongside all the things that make Ghanaians proud was found the courage of a president who dared to believe, dared to let his deepest democratic instinct result in action, dared to keep a promise made, and dared to take a stand.
Oh, that's Dan Butcher there. He's a minister for regional reorganization speaking today at that ceremony. And if you're just joining us, some breaking news coming out of the Savannah region tonight. There's been spontaneous rioting there tonight just in reaction to the announcement of the Damongo as a capital for the Savannah region. Thankfully, we can speak now to Deputy Chief of Staff Abu Jinapo, who joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Jinapo, I'm grateful for your time here on Newsnight. Can you explain to us what went into the selection of Damongo as the capital for the Savannah region?
Thank you very much, Evans, and a very good evening to your cherished listeners. As you may have heard the president articulate, a week after the referenda in respect of the creation of 6 regions in our country, that is, after the 27th referenda, the president set up a committee chaired by the Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, Honorable Dan Kweku-Botchwey, to examine the dynamics as they relate to a roadmap for the development of these 6 new regions, as well as proposals for the siting of capitals for these new regions. Based on the report of that committee and the president's own consultations, and as well as his evaluation of the totality of the circumstances and representations across board, the president has come to the conclusion that Nalerigu becomes the capital for the Northeast region, and Damongo becomes the capital for the Savannah region.
Okay, so that is essentially what went into this, and so in real terms, though, the expectations are pretty high because of, I mean, this almost brings to conclusion the process, except that you have to wait for the CI to really mature. What should the people expect now that the capitals are being settled on?
Well, the people should expect that the president's agenda and his government's agenda for the total transformation of our country kickstarts. I mean, the president has a holistic program of agricultural transformation, of industrial transformation, of economic transformation for our country. And I've said this before, I want to repeat. The creation of these regions are to be looked at from the point of view of the president's grand vision for the transformation of our country. Even if you follow the president and his party's campaign in the 2016 election, the president made decentralization one of the cardinal pillars of his transformative agenda. Decentralization in the sense of bringing governance to the doorstep of the people, bringing development to the doorstep of the people, mobilizing the energies and aspirations of the people in order to propel the development agenda of his government. So the people should expect that we're going to have, if you want, we're going to ramp up the development efforts. There's going to be a new impetus to the already remarkable effort that the government is making to improve healthcare, to improve education, to improve the economies of these new regions. It must be said that in real terms, it will mean that, for instance, in the Savannah region, which is my home region, we're going to have a new regional minister. It will mean that public services are going to be delivered in Damongo and its environs and no longer to Tamale. So if somebody wanted to acquire a passport or a license or access healthcare or access educational facilities from Bamboy, the person will not have to travel from Bamboy all the way to Tamale. His stop will be in Damongo. So in summary, the people should expect that the creation of these regions will bring development to the doorsteps or to their communities and localities, governance and development.
Just before you came on, news broke in the Savannah region. There's been spontaneous rioting tonight, and in fact, as we speak, it's still happening. We've spoken to eyewitnesses. People are on the street burning down property. The MPP office there is on fire because they believe that the Damongo should not have been the capital, rather Salaga should have been. What's your reaction to this? This is just happening even as we speak right now.
Well, first of all, my attitude to these things is always to delineate crime and broad day crime from any other consideration. So when there's a football match and people under the pretext of a grievance arising out of the results of the football match go about breaking the law, I always advocate that we should delineate the two. We should separate, distinguish crime from any other consideration, as is the case for chieftaincy, as is the case for religious disputes, as must be the case for the siting of regions and politics. I think that's the first point that I have to make, that the law enforcement agencies should bring perpetrators to book when they break the law, regardless of what motivated them to do so. So that's the first point. The second one is that we can only cite a regional capital in one town. We cannot have 2 regional capitals or 3 regional capitals. And so one town will certainly have to be selected over other considerations or other towns which were in the offing. The third point is that Evans, the president, made it very clear, and that is the vision of the president, and that's the paradigm on which the president is going to prosecute his development agenda, which is that development and infrastructure are going to be distributed equitably within the region. So Damongo is the regional capital. It may as well be that some infrastructure or the other will be sited in Salaga or in Daboya or in Bole or in Bupe or in any other part of the Savannah region. So if one particular place is not the name, it doesn't mean that that place is going to be lost out when it comes to development or the distribution or the sharing of infrastructure development. And finally, I think that the decision by the president to cite the capital in Damongo is sound. It's sound on geographic grounds, it's sound on traditional grounds, it's sound on potential, it's sound on existing infrastructure, it's sound on literally every consideration that experts will employ in advising or determining the siting of a regional capital. So I will say that it's most unfortunate and disappointing that people will go out on rampage, but that is what it is. Damongo is the capital of the Savannah region. It's a sound decision made by the president. We all support it fully. And the law enforcement agencies to bring all perpetrators of crime and breach of law and order to book.
And talking about development, the president tonight reiterated the point that the Savannah region, like others, will get 20 million cedis. Do you know how soon that money will be released for development to actually start?
That is in the budget as we speak. So, in other words, in principle, it's available for spending. We have the president is now signing a constitutional instrument. So, with the fruition of time, the required time by law, the regions will now legally be in place. The president is mandated the current North Regional Minister to oversee the Savannah and Northeast regions for the time being. I believe that we're going to start moving in earnest in putting the building blocks in place. Certainly, we need to have a regional coordinating council, and we need to have the basic infrastructure to house the regional coordinating council. As I said earlier, the president had put in place a committee to advise him or make proposals as to how to rapidly advance the development of these regions. That blueprint, I believe, will guide it. And don't also forget that government has its own grand blueprint to develop all of Ghana. And I must also be quick to add, Evans, that with the creation of these 2 regions from Northern region, for instance, the original existing Northern region is also going to be better off and have a better share of the national cake, because what will normally have been allocated to all of Northern region and which would have catered for Northern region as it exists, Savannah region and Northeast region, when allocations are made to the regions of Ghana, they are going to be considered from the point of view of Northern region now having 3 regions, and therefore the original existing Northern region is just going to benefit. So the president means business when he says he wants to decentralize governance and development. It's not mere rhetoric, it's not tokenism, and it's certainly not a charade. It's a reality, and we're going to see full action.
And that is the Deputy Chief of Staff there, Abojo Napo. And as we've been speaking, listeners have been sending us videos of the chaos and violence currently, spontaneous rioting in Salaga South right now, where, as we know, the NPP headquarters there, the NPP office there, has been set ablaze. People just simply erupted into violence, objecting to the naming of Damongo as capital for the Savannah region. The Yakubu business has sent us videos of this, and you could see the entire and MPP head office there in Salaga up in flames, totally engulfed in flames right now, and people simply very agitated. We spoke to an eyewitness who tells us that the police themselves seem not to be in a position to control the anger of the youth there. Thankfully, we can go live now and speak to Brima Salifu Adams, who's the MP for Salaga South, joins us on the telephone line right now. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Newsnight. I'm pretty sure that the unfolding situation in your constituency has come to your attention. What is it that what is your brief on what is unfolding right now in your constituency?
You are right on point. On your, good evening to your listeners. I must say today is a very, very sad and disturbing day. Today should have been a great day for the people of Gonjaland, the whole Gonjaland in Savannah region in particular. The regions are being created to speed up development efforts. The naming of capital or citing a capital in one particular place should not result to something like this. It's so embarrassing and uncalled for. They are on rapid, but at this point we can only plead that tensions to calm down. Tomorrow I'm leaving by the first flight to Salaga to see how we can. We are talking to the elders to talk to them to calm down. Citing our capital is not everything. It's about development. We just finished. The president just finished signing this constitutional instrument. Today is supposed to be a very happy day for everybody, and unfortunately, it's just unfortunate. The MC is here. I'm here. The overlord, the Alpemiura is here. Everybody is here. So we don't know. The police, in fact, they are helpless. As your reporters will tell you, the police went there and they couldn't calm tempers. So we just pleading with the journalists not to keep up these sentiments. You help us control the situation.
Absolutely. And as you say that you are summoning the chiefs and people there to try and calm nerves, I wonder if that is getting through at all to the people, the rioting youth there in Salaga. Is it helping? And I'm wondering why the police cannot have given up on this and seem to be watching this unfold.
That's what we are talking about. I'm right there in the car with the MC. We've been calling the police. I know they are standard procedure. But so far things are coming. But they've done the worst already. They've burned the party office. We understand. We only hope that they will stop what they are doing, and then they are threatening going to attack government buildings. That's why we are. The regional minister, is also here. The deputy is here. So we are calling. We don't want the military to intervene. If the military gets there, that's a different ball game altogether.
But from what we're hearing and from the pictures and videos we're seeing, if nothing is done and the police have already pulled out from the scene, it's going to escalate. And you need. And the DC is with you. He is the chairman of the District Security Council. Shouldn't he be calling in the military support right now?
It's a very worrying situation. Nobody contemplated something like people will go to this extent. You understand? So that was the regional minister is here. So we are calling the military commander to see how they can help us. But that would be the last resort because the military should be the last people to get involved in things like this. Okay. But as you were saying, you were reporting on the things you are seeing, the violence, and the entire party structure is on flames. But I understand tension is calming down. We only hope. But the reportage will be a little bit. Tone down, and we'll see how we can bring the situation under total control.
I'm grateful that you joined us with that update. Brima Salifu Adams, MP for Salaga, and you heard him confirm that the police themselves seem not to have a handle on what is happening and unfolding in the Savannah region. Salaga, to be very specific tonight, and the videos that we're seeing are pretty worrying. The MPP headquarters burned down. He says that he's also told us that the indication is that the rioting youth who are agitating spontaneous reaction to the announcement of Damangwa as a capital appear to also have said that they intend also attacking other state buildings. And we heard the eyewitness say that they also plan what are the targets will be the DCE's own residents. Of course, the police have pulled out. The contemplation right now is to call in the military. But if you listen to us, some of you are already sending us videos. You are there sending us videos of this on Newsnight. As you've heard the appeal, please calm down as they reach out to try and solve the problems has escalated. And as I can can see lots of you who are listening to us in that part of the country and are sending the message. We'll be sharing that with you shortly. George Yafe is joining me with the very latest. George, very worrying situation. You've seen the videos that I've seen.
You know, some of these things when it happens on WhatsApp, you think it's fake news.
Yeah.
With all respect, I thought it was one of those things.
Yeah.
And then we had to confirm it on our network. So unfortunate, not at this time when we all thought that expanding the regions, more development, and the whole essence that there's also going to be decentralization.
Yeah.
So irrespective of whether it's in Accra East or Salaga North,
it's
or West,
one region.
Yeah,
it's one region.
What you have pushed for, to have this separate region to ensure that you get closer to development, it is coming home.
Yeah. Well, George, what do you have in the headlines?
Well, Evans, a senior tax partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, described the country's tax laws as not friendly for small businesses. And Ghana Revenue Authority warns of more distress actions to seize items not affixed with the tax stamp. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
Hello and welcome to the MTN Weather Report. I'm not for and dry. But this year, whatever your needs are, we're there for you. Now the details of my weather report. 15,000 cities will blow from the intertropical boundaries across the country. We can also see a mist of fog patches of 25,000 cities and a heavy monetary downpour of 30,000 cities move to treat the dry season across the country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, everywhere you go, whether it be school fees or akasisem fees, we're there for you. Rent advance, salary advance, your sorted advance, because with MTN, we're there for you. Now keep talking, browsing, texting, and sending Momo to accumulate points and win prizes each month to cushion you this year in the MTN More For You promo. 80 dial *120#. Now check your points. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Everybody make us see you do the dance. Do the dance.
Nothing but the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Let us help you bank with the right bank. At First National Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're a digital partner that actually understands your business. Enjoy massive value with our various banking solutions. Get a business check account, a day-to-day transactional account for all businesses from all sectors of the economy. Access our online banking enterprise and bank your way 24/7. Invest with our short or long-term options that enable immediate access to funds. Optimize your cash flow, raise capital, and acquire assets with ease with our lending solutions. Trade with speed, consistency, and innovation with our global payments and forex solutions. With so much value up for grabs, there is no reason not to bank with First National Bank. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, a senior tax partner at accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, George Kwetia, has described the country's tax laws that are so friendly to small businesses. Mr. Kwetia was responding to concerns by some small firms who were saying that they were having some serious challenges in meeting their tax obligations. Let's hear from these businesses. First is Anthony Morrison. He's managing director of Farm Masters, and Fatima Ali Mohammed. She's also a business entrepreneur with a tax consultant firm. I mean, they spoke at the Maiden Joy Business and PricewaterhouseCoopers seminar on intelligent taxing.
SMEs are not privy to some of the taxes, and they get to a point where they need to access one form of credit or otherwise, and you are asked, bring your documents, and a lot of other things get unraveled as to, oh, there's a gap in your taxes, you haven't done that, you haven't done that. But I still think that as a developing country, we should be able to give startups, SMEs, some kind of a long tax break for them to build themselves, have a stronger foundation, so that when they begin to pay tax, they know the reason why they are paying tax, because they have enjoyed some privilege.
Is withholding tax really relevant to only a principal or you as an agent? Because a lot of times you are representing somebody else. So, I mean, today I got a bit of clarity on that, and it clearly means that I need to go back and do a bit more homework to understand it, because it's very painful for businesses, especially when you're startups or you're trying to move up and you do not understand the finer details. And, you know, before you know it, you have somebody coming in to put the whip on you.
But senior tax partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, George Kwetia, tells Joy Business the time has come to take a second look at these laws.
If you have a tax system which targets a tax point, which comes earlier than person receiving his money or his income, which necessarily becomes the basis for which that person uses in paying the taxes, then to some extent, I don't think when it comes to the canons of taxation and you're talking about fairness, you're being fair to the person. When for one reason or the other, the person is accounting on accrual basis, and therefore it serves as a basis of taxation, or there's a delayed payment and the person is cash strapped. The person is already suffering a working capital challenge, let alone to cough up to pay taxes out of a borrowing. So obviously, I think that's a challenge. And sooner than later, when people cannot survive it, the best thing they do is to go undercover.
George Kwetia is a senior tax partner at accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers. Let's still stay on taxation, because the Ghana Revenue Authority says it would be out on the market more to ensure that businesses and importers comply by affixing the tax stamp on some beverages. Now, this was after it went out to the Central Business District today to see some items without these tax stamp. Let's hear from the head of the excise unit at the Ghana Revenue Authority, Kobina Mpao.
I believe that we shall always have situations where some few products will definitely slip through our fingers and then come to the market. But for us, we understand clearly that our job is on the market. We have to be here, because all the products will eventually come here. We shall continue to seize those products until importers and manufacturers comply.
But sir, the few ones that we've seen without a stamp, what are the excuses? What have they been telling you?
Some of them cannot give an explanation because some of the products were recently manufactured. So you
Kobina Mpao is the head of the excise unit at the Ghana Revenue Authority. Now, dealing with the Ghana cedi's stability is often seen as a monetary issue, or maybe a direct function of the Bank of Ghana. But it's said that government also has a role to play in helping with the situation. So let's hear from the Minister of Planning, Professor George Jambafo, what government is also doing to deal with the situation.
When you are actually relying on exports of commodities and you import almost everything, you certainly will have pressure on the currency. So structurally, what we have to do is what everybody has been talking about, adding value to our raw materials and things like that. And that is the essence of, in fact, our one district, one factory effort, to make sure that we actually add value to products instead of, exporting them raw. We are doing that with cocoa. We are increasing the percentage of cocoa that we will process locally. We are actually trying to process our gold and all that here. We need to add value to that. Once you do that, you see, prices are not determined elsewhere. You have control over prices, and therefore your exchange rate will not be unduly be under stress.
There is a short, medium-term strategy to help boost our exports, so that would
precisely that is the goal.
Minister for Planning, Professor George Jambafo, talking about some medium-term measures to help stabilize the city. Now, depending on the bank that you deal with, the city could be sold to you between 5 Ghana cedis to about 5 Ghana cedis, 20 pesos. And now the National Insurance Commission has downplayed calls for a special task force on compliance to be dissolved. Head of the task force, Joseph Bento, spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of the district's action. Saying that the commission is still committed to ensure that all public buildings actually comply by insuring them.
The strategy could yield the result if we normalize it, and it's an everyday affair. As I look at it, every 2 months we are going out. I think we have to sustain it. It should be everyday affair. For now, it's a task force activity. It means that up to a certain time, we have to either convert the task force to a complete department that will be enforcing the compulsory fire and other related activities on a daily basis.
And that is the head of task force at the National Insurance Commission, Joseph Bento, speaking to us there. And that's all for Business on Newsnight.
Thank you, George. Let's do some sports now. Hello, Hans.
Hello, Evans. And of course, Manchester United are in action in the UEFA Champions League. But first, Kumasi Asante Kotoko have wrapped up preparation for tomorrow's CAF Confederations Cup clash against Zambia's Zesco United. The Porcupine Warriors lost their opening group game against Al Hilal and must win to boost their chances of qualifying for the next stage of the competition. My colleague Benedict Osudankwa was at this afternoon's training session and joins me on the line. Hello, Benedict.
Yes, Hans.
Yes. So expectations must be very high ahead of tomorrow's game.
Of course, expectations are very high. The fans and the players, as well as the officials of the club, they know there is only one thing they have to do tomorrow, God willing, and that's to win the game, to get their campaign back on track after losing their first game away to Al Hilal. I mean, speaking to the fans and also the officials on arrival here at the stadium today after their training, clearly everything towards tomorrow's game is to win and get their campaign back on track. So the fans are expecting big performance and also a very convincing win from the side, and the players as well as the officials, specifically Kusiki Akono, also knows very well that they can't go into that game and not deliver to the expectation of the fans.
Now, it's a weekday, but is there a sense that the Barbara Sports Stadium will be full to capacity tomorrow?
Well, unlike the last game against Cotton Sports, when we came and the euphoria and everything, the buzz about the game was very high. It's very quiet. Probably maybe it's because it's on a working day. When I got into the stadium for the training session, I was expecting to see so many fans, but that wasn't the case as compared to that of the Cotton Sport game. So hopefully, probably maybe since the game will be at 4 o'clock, we expect some fans to come to the stadium. But as to whether we'll have a full house as compared to the last game against Cotton Sport, I doubt.
Right, and I'm grateful that you joined me. Benedict Osudankwa with the Joy Sports team, and assistant coach of the Black Stars, Ibrahim Tanko, was also at the Barbara Sports Stadium for Kotoko's final training session. He's been speaking ahead of the game.
I followed the team from the beginning, and I must say I'm very, very happy the way the performance are, because every time I watch them, the performance goes up. So I hope that tomorrow they will play a very good game too.
That was Ibrahim Tanko, assistant coach of the Black Stars. And of course, there is UEFA Champions League action tonight. Gary Al Smith and George Adu Jr. begin the build up at 7:40 p.m. for Manchester United versus PSG. That's your sports.
Well, blame it on the devil. That's the defense of Torres Razak, husband of Habiba, the young lady whose chilling story we brought to you yesterday about how her husband beat her until her face was swollen and covered with blood. Now, Habiba says she was repeatedly punched in the face by Razak right in front of her 2 children. We'll hear her husband's account of what transpired, but first, here a recap of Habiba's story.
He had a ring on. He just kept... Not the wedding band sort of, no. The men fashion rings, the silver rings. Yes. So he kept throwing punches at me, left, right. So I went down to protect my face, and I had both hands protecting my face, and now he was punching my head. So when I tried to remove one hand or both hands to protect my head, then he comes from down, like an uppercut sort of, and then hits from beneath. Punching from beneath. So I don't know at what point he punched under my eye, then blood gushed out and spilled onto the wall.
Well, that's Habiba's story. My colleague Masabagba tracked down the husband today and got an interview. So I know you've been trying to get him.
Yeah.
How did you manage to get him finally?
Well, we've been trying. We tried the whole of yesterday, but that wasn't possible. So today we tried. We worked the lines again, and we were lucky. He actually answered and met us at a place somewhere in Accra, and then took us to the home of his second wife, where we actually had this interview. But prior to the interview, though, we sat for about 1 hour 30 minutes with the man actually narrating narrating to us what he thinks possibly triggered, his actions.
But that's not the first time he's assaulted a lady.
Well, when we put that question to him, he said it was the first time.
I see. Yeah, that's what he claimed. What was his demeanor?
Well, you can see the contrition, the penitence in his eyes. I mean, he looked remorseful.
I see.
Yeah.
On my side, to apologize to Habiba since I've touched her. And I really feel regretted. And I apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I also urge other men to always exercise patience with their spouses. They should always be patient with their wives, not only wives, to family as well. Domestic violence is not a good idea. It's not the best thing to do. But as you know, we are human beings. Sometimes we fall into such temptation. And I hope and I believe this should be the last thing in my life. I work with people. I live with people. I don't have such a record in my life. And all my wives, they are all even surprised. How did it happen? Not until I even said that I did it. My wives didn't believe it. They didn't believe that what Habiba said was true. But I came out boldly to let them know, look, I have done it. And I really regretted it. And I hope and I pray to Almighty God, first of all, to forgive me, to seek forgiveness from God, and also to seek forgiveness from Habiba, and to promise that this thing will never happen again. Habiba is my wife. She is still my wife. And it's unfortunate this thing has occurred. And I deeply regretted for what has happened. I myself have sent her messages of apologies. And I hope and pray, first of all, God will forgive me. And Habiba herself will also forgive me. And the public entirely will also forgive me. As I promise, this will never happen in my life anymore.
So that is the man who brutally assaulted the wives, wearing a ring, punching away until blood spatter on their own walls of the marital home. Let's speak to clinical psychologists on this. He's been listening to that with us. Noted. So tell me, you've listened to this man. He says he's sorry, it won't happen again. Should the wife agree and simply return, or based on your own psychological analysis of what you've heard, is this genuine?
Well, Evans, let me just say an incident is different from a pattern. I heard you refer to a pattern. He is referring to an incident. Nevertheless, violence is a choice. And violence is wrong. And we have laws and statutes that now address this. It would be a shame that this is not properly documented and addressed by law, so that Habiba is safe. And if indeed certain measures must be put in place to make sure that this does not recur, then they'll be put in place according to law. I'm not happy with this. Many instances of violence have the honeymoon phase afterwards, where there are gifts, there's apologies and all sorts of stuff. And because we socialize women to be maybe submissive in so many regards, many violent men get away with this. So I wouldn't buy this. And I'd want this to be addressed properly by the laws we fought for in this country.
You wouldn't advise the woman to simply accept the apology and move back in?
No. A man who would do that in front of your children, in open, that is a different creature. I'm sorry. Violence is a choice. Primarily, that's what we're looking at. And it's spawned by unequal power dynamics, which he knows he can get away with. That is why he's playing this game now. And we have laws in this country that address this. I would suggest, for the sake of the woman, her children, they've all been traumatized. It's not just the physical wounds, Evans. Physical violence does not occur in a vacuum. There'll be psychological, there'll be economic and emotional violence. And I'm saying that to protect everybody, even the other wives he, proudly, accounts for, let's have this addressed properly. If he goes through a process, if he needs therapy, if he needs anything, if he needs sanctions, let the law deal with that. We fought for these laws, Evans, and it's a shame that the incidence of this is creeping upwards.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's fatal.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That's clinical psychologist Note Dia there. That's it for Newsnight tonight. Apologies we weren't able to bring you the Sogli Traditional Council's objection to the naming of the whole technical university after Dr. Ephraim Amu. My name is Evan Spencer. Shortly, we'll be crossing over live for that commentary of that game between Manchester United and PSG. Stay with us here on Joy 99.7 FM.